Hey, we are live. I'm Eric Rhoads, publisher of Fine Art Connoisseur and Plein Air magazine. Today, our guest is Amery Bohling. Amery, welcome.
Gonna do it. There we go. Hi,
Yeah,
how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing good. Keeping
So,
busy over here.
yeah, so tell us where you are. Where is over here?
Phoenix. So we're in the nice, warm valley of the sun. It's been a hot one. So,
Yeah.
oh.
How hot has it been?
It's been more in the teens this year. I feel like last summer it wasn't so hot. So it's warm. But we have our tricks to keep cool, so that helps. We're well equipped
Yeah.
for it.
You know what my trick for keeping cool is?
Leaving town.
Leaving town. Yeah.
I've done that a bit. Summer's definitely when I do a lot more plein air painting because
Yeah. So
it's
this
not so
morning,
busy here.
yesterday it was cold and rainy. It was about maybe 40 degrees, and this morning it was cold. But
I
now
miss
the
sweaters.
sun has come out, and so it's about 60 degrees. So woohoo! It's perfect lake day. All right. So
Wow.
what are you going to talk about today?
I kind of like talking about beginning plein air painting because I think it's such a important thing to be aware of when you get outside and you have this giant scene in front of you. How do you whittle it down? How do you pick what you're going to do, and how do you start it?
Okay.
And I know we have a limited amount of time, so I'll try and keep it compact.
We're going to have 30 or 40 minutes, and so that'll work. So while I'm going to take you off camera in a second and make some announcements, but while I'm doing that, maybe you can also pull in some work because people would love to see your work.
Sure, I can even take you on a walk around the gallery, show you what's going on here.
Okay, that's even better. All right, so we'll see you in a minute.
All right.
All right, that was Amery Bohling, and really world famous for Grand Canyon paintings, but does so much more than that as well. I'm Eric Rhoads, and today is day number 156. 156 days in a row, and we're cranking it out, baby. We're trying to be there for you no matter what's going on in the world. We're trying to be there, and I was just trying to figure out my schedule because I have to go over to New Hampshire because we're doing Fall Color Week coming up in October, and I have to go over there and select all of the painting locations because we always do a little booklet with all the painting locations for the people who attend. And so I'm thinking about going over this weekend. I haven't decided if I'm going to do that. And so I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do I time it so I can go on and do the show at noon every day, no matter what? So it's a new world trying to figure these things out. I should mention, since I'm talking about Fall Color Week, it is an event I do every year. It's in a different location every year. And the idea is it's just artists getting together to paint. Most of us find that we don't really have the time to paint. You know, even if we're full-time professional artists, oftentimes we're not getting outdoors enough, or maybe we go out once a week. But there's something about a dedicated week of going and painting. And I know that whenever I do this, my painting takes a leap forward after about day number 3, doing, 2 panels a day, 3 panels a day. After about day number 3, I can see my work getting better. And also I start refining my systems, and, all of a sudden I can unpack my bag and set up my easel faster and everything. And then, by the time I get to the end of the week, I'm really painting like a rock star. But it's fun just painting with other people. We basically have, it's kind of like a club, right? A lot of people come every year. We get to know each other. We make new friends. We sit up at night and we sing and we eat meals together, and we have a lot of fun. Now this year we have to socially distance. We have to be sensitive to that. We have to mask up. And then when we're outdoors painting, we'll separate ourselves as well. But we go to all these beautiful locations, and this is going to be peak week for Fall Color. And so it's going to be a fabulous place. This is where many of the Hudson River School people painted when they wanted fall paintings. They go up to New Hampshire. And so the color there is beautiful. So that's where we're going this year. I have not yet announced where we're going next year, but we'll figure that out and let you know what that's going to be. I also should mention next fall, starting on Labor Day, I believe, I'm taking people to Russia for 2 weeks. I've got 50 people I'll be taking. You might be able to join that if you go to paintrussia.com and sign up for it. Now, I haven't got the price and everything on there yet because we're still trying to figure that out, but we're going to paint in St. Petersburg and go to the great museums, the Great Hermitage Museum, one of the most important museums in the world, mostly, actually all European and some Russian paintings. And then we have a private, get this, private tour of the Hermitage where we get to go through the Hermitage. It's our small little group of 50 people, nobody else in the Hermitage. How often does that happen? It pays to have friends in high places. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, that's going to take place in September next year. A lot of people have expressed interest, and we will be contacting you and giving you a form to fill out so that you can tell us if you're healthy or not, because we are going to be not only in the big cities painting, but we're touring, but we're going to be in the small villages painting. Small villages, it's like going back 300 years. I mean, it's still, they're carrying their water and there's cows in the streets, and I mean, there are no streets, and it's absolutely fabulous. And so you want to get into that, be a part of that. You also want to be a part of the Plein Air Convention, which is taking place. All of this is, of course, dependent on whether or not we're free, mask-free, safe, and you get 100% refund on anything and everything if we have to cancel or reschedule. So we have the Plein Air Convention coming up in Colorado, and that's something that is going to be a phenomenon because people want to get out, and so that's pretty cool. Also, if you want to be part of Realism Live, this is going to be, we believe, the world's largest online art conference. It's the first online art conference devoted to exclusively realism, meaning the various forms of realism. So we'll be doing all kinds of different painting, teaching lots of different things. So you'll have an opportunity to learn still life, portraits, figures, landscapes, flowers, seascapes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we have a basics day, a one-day basics day course for people who are new painters or want to be painters. And then we have 4 days with some of the top artists in the world. And let me just tell you, we've got some amazing people. We have Jean Stern. That slide it is wrong, but we'll use it today. Jean Stern is going to be doing some art history, so he'll get going. But we have some new people that we've just announced. Mark D'Alessio. Let me just take this banner off the ticker so you can read it. So Mark D'Alessio, who is a world famous plein air painter, is going to be teaching landscape painting, and he's in Serbia or Croatia or someplace. Tony Serenai is going to be teaching still life. William Schneider is going to be in the basics day teaching portraiture. Connor Walton from Ireland is going to be teaching. KATHIE Anderson will be teaching flowers. Kathy Odom is going to be teaching landscape painting. Jeff Legge is going to be teaching still life. Daniel Graves, the great master from the Florence Academy, will be teaching and doing a demo. Victoria Herrera will be on the faculty. The amazing Juliet Aristides is going to be teaching drawing. Daniel Gerhartz will be teaching the figure. Daniel Sprick, Rose Franson, Joshua LaRock, and Graydon Parrish. And that's just for starters because we have a few more that we're adding. But that is called Realism Live. And Sunday, my birthday, the 30th, is when the price goes up. At midnight Pacific time, the price automatically goes up $100. And so this is your time to save money while you can and get signed up this weekend. We're already pushing 800. We think this is going to end up at, we don't know really. I would imagine 3,000-4,000 people, but we don't know yet. And at some point, we're going to have to cut off registration because we have limitations on the technology. Tonight, if you were a member of Plein Air Live, we did a cocktail party every night at the end of Plein Air Live where we either painted together or we just chatted. And there were several hundred people doing that with me. Everyone who was at Plein Air Live is invited to come to that tonight. The link is in the private Plein Air Live members group and also either going or has gone out to you by email. And so that's tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. That way the people in the West can still join close to the end of their day. And we're just going to kind of shoot the breeze and talk and have fun for an hour. And so we'll be doing that. I've been talking about doing it for a while, just haven't gotten around to it. The other thing that's happening today is the people who were part of the VIP group of Plein Air Live are being invited to a special 1 or 2 hour mastermind session. I've never done a mastermind session in art before, but I am a member of many mastermind groups. I pay a lot of money to be a part of them because I learn so much and grow from them. And so I'm going to give them an example of a mastermind, a brief example, a couple hours of a mastermind today. And that's for the VIP members of Realism Live. We're going to be doing things like hot seats where you give us your individual problem and then we solve the problem for you. So that's going to be pretty cool. Today at 3 p.m., the art video instruction video that we're giving you is Neil Patterson, and the video is called Barn House. This is the painting that he's going to be teaching you how he does. And this is the video. This is one of the classics from Lil et al. This was done a few years ago. And Neil is an OPA master and it's just fabulous. And so you'll get that today at 3 p.m. And the way you find that is at Streamline Art Video on YouTube or Facebook. Just go to YouTube or Facebook and put Streamline Art Video in, search it. And also you should follow on Facebook, or you should subscribe on YouTube. That way they come to you automatically. Also, that way you will be getting these broadcasts automatically if you happen to be watching it on somebody else's feed or something like that. Anyway, make sure that you guys get signed up for Realism Live before Sunday. Also, before the end of the month on August 31st, we have the painting giveaway for the month of August is Carl Dempwolf. We're trying to give away a painting every single month. And paintinggiveaway.com, you have to enter specifically for this competition, and there's no fee to enter. And so you could win a beautiful painting from Carl Dempwolf, and including the handmade custom frame that he did. Also, before the end of the month, you want to enter the Plein Air Salon art competition. This is showing Carl Bretsky, who won in 2016. And this really helped his career a lot because he was already a rock star, but by getting on the cover of Plein Air magazine, when you win, by winning the money, and all of a sudden, you know, a lot of people come out of the woodwork and invite you to things, and people know about you. You're getting a lot of publicity. And so it's a really cool thing. And so you should enter to win before the 31st. And our judge is George Billis of George Billis Gallery. And that's one of the other benefits of the Plein Air Salon is we have a lot of gallery people who oftentimes discover artists and then invite them into their gallery. That's happened several times. Even though they're judging blindly, they eventually find out who they are. So that is, I think, all that I've got going on. I'll mention the Plein Air podcast. Plein Air podcast every week where I'm interviewing various people about plein air painting. Yesterday, I recorded a really interesting one. Someone, I won't tell you about it yet, but someone who bridges a lot of areas. Someone who's a plein air painter, has been a major curator at a major museum, also an author and art historian. So that's going to be coming up. And so watch for that. Also, I have the Art Marketing Minute podcast. If you want to learn more about marketing, go to Art Marketing Minute podcast, or you can go to artmarketing.com. All right. So I think I've done all my homework here. Now back to Amery Bohling. Amery.
Hi. Hello again.
Thank you for your patience.
No problem.
So tell us about you. Tell us that you've got people watching from all over the world. I'll mention some as I see them in the comments, but you know, I guaranteed there's a Saudi Arabia in there. There's an Egypt. There's an Israel. There's northern Indiana. That's kind of like another world. No,
yeah.
I can say that. I can only say that because I'm from Indiana. So you got a lot of people watching from all over the world. And so some of them may not be familiar with you, but try to tell us a little bit about yourself as an artist.
Well, I am primarily a landscape painter. There are figures in there at some point in times. But I guess I prefer painting landscapes because I kind of like the adventure of being outside. Plein air painting, I think, is a wonderful tool when it comes to producing studio pieces, because it gives you that extra bit of life that otherwise it would be flat. So I kind of started out as primarily a plein air painter, and then I started working into doing more like studio type works. Now I blend them together. But there's something about the adventure of outdoors. And of course, like my favorite location is the Grand Canyon. So I do a lot of work at the South Rim and the North Rim. I don't know which one I like more. I guess it depends on the time of year. I like it to be a little quiet, and right now it's definitely quiet at the canyon. So since COVID is happening.
So what is the key to painting a subject like that? Because to me, the Grand Canyon, when I've tried to paint it, it is the most complex, difficult subject to paint because, you know, you've got all these little cracks and crevices everywhere you look, and lots of little pieces of form and light and shadow and so on. Is there a technique to it?
I think the first thing you have to comprehend when you approach something like the Grand Canyon is not to let it overwhelm you. There is a lot going on. I think the way the shapes move around, you still have to apply perspective. Sometimes it's easier if you just break it down because you see this massive scene, and the goal really isn't trying to paint the whole thing. It's probably trying to paint a part of it. It's also very abstract in nature, so we can't really relate it to something else we know. We have like our own preconceived notions of how to paint trees and water and clouds. And I think it kind of helps when it comes to painting the canyon because we can't really associate it with something we're familiar with to do it incorrectly. So don't let it psych you out. Try to keep it simple. Those are like the best tips, I think. And then painting it enough so that it kind of gets into your base memory so that you're not thinking about it so much. So the first few times are a little tricky, but after repetition, it will get simpler because you'll have it memorized.
So you did a video called "How to Paint the Grand Canyon," and
it's so easy.
Do you recall how many hours that is, and what processes that you go through in that video?
In that video, we didn't, you know, I did not spend a terribly long amount of hours in it. It helps that it was only a 16 by 12 painting. So I think it was about a day and a half of work. It was a little slower probably than I could have painted normally, just because you're trying to be mindful of the filmmaking process. But, you know, it's not terrible. Of course, if I'm outside painting in plein air, it's, you know, it whittles down to about 2 hours and I might revisit the subject. So not bad.
Okay. All right. I'm trying to figure out how to get this so it's not.
That looks nice.
There we go. Okay. You also did, while we're talking about that, you also did another video. Tell us about the Seascapes painting video. That is such a beautiful painting.
That really worked out well. I think the hard thing about doing those videos is the most intimidating thing is you're filming something and you don't really know what it's going to turn out like because there's all these other factors going in. So you just kind of like cross your fingers that it succeeds. That one turned out great. And painting that video, I mean, that was the first one I did with you guys. So it was a little intimidating, hoping it would work out, but it did. And it was really great to see how many people who bought the video painted with it, and then they'll send me images of it, and they do a really good job, which can also make you nervous because like, oh no, did I just give up all the tricks of my trade because now everyone can paint it?
Yeah,
so,
but you're always growing and you're always going to the next level, and that's why, quite frankly, we do so many videos with so many artists because, you know, I got a call, I won't mention names, but I got a call from an artist the other day. He said, everything I taught in my video, he said, I thought that was the best way, but I've relearned how I'm doing things, and now I have a better approach. And I
have the same problem.
Yeah. So so we kind of learn with them as they go through their growth process, and sometimes we're ready to receive things, and sometimes we're not.
I'm not gridding anymore. I've been doing acrylic starts, which has been very different. But at that time, that's what I needed from art. And I still think if you're a beginning student, the gridding and that stuff really does help you move to the next level, and then you can try and break out of it. So I've been a little bit more relaxed with my painting approach and trying to be beyond perfect photo, I guess, or exactly what I see. So that's done wonderful for me. It's just changing that up a bit.
There are a lot of people who don't know what the heck you're talking about. Would you tell them what gridding is?
Yeah, well, it definitely go over in the video. So basically, and I'll try and explain it a little bit today because I still think it's a valuable thing to understand. So you kind of start off with like your photo. You might have your plein air image. So I thought this is actually one I just recently did when I went to the North Rim.
Oh,
this little guy here. The thing about that made this one harder was that it was a 10-mile hike at altitude. So fortunately, I had my lovely new husband to carry my pack for me, because normally that's just me on my own. But what I would do in a situation like this, I don't know if you want me to go into this right now, but I can tell you.
Go ahead. Sure, go ahead.
Huh?
Yeah, sure.
So here's kind of like a summarized thing of the video, but you have your sketchbook like this. And you have a giant scene in front of you that is a bit overwhelming because it's the canyon. You just kind of try and make a small sketch. And then we grid our sketch. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Yeah, if you do it dark, we can see it. Yeah.
Maybe a darker. Let's go for charcoal. This is also my new favorite thing to draw with is charcoal. It's not as permanent as pencil. So you kind of get your sketch going. And I see a lot of people who want to use the entire page, their paper. I don't really see the need for that. It's really forcing you to see this as your boundary when maybe your perfect painting is a square. So
right.
Don't feel like you have to use every inch of your sketch pad. And I might go and I'll have to show you this study, but it's very similar to that, but you can kind of come up with your design. You got your trees up here. This is Woodforest Point, Woodforest Trail, and at the very end of it, you're looking down through like Transept Canyon. It's really beautiful there. The nice thing about sketching is you can look for like pitfalls. Like, let me show you the image, reference image. There you go. I'll switch you around. This is my gallery computer. This is the beautiful location here.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice? But you can see there's some problem areas that when you sketch, you can kind of figure it out, like this and this point lining up, this crevice and this crevice lining up. You don't want this to be even with this to be even with this. There's all sorts of things that you have to be mindful of, and sketching can be a wonderful tool to kind of break it down so it's not so overwhelming. You have to let me know if I go off course too much.
Okay. You're perfectly on course.
Okay, good. So I'm going to try and make this as simple of a sketch as possible. And I might go through a couple of these before I actually settle on an idea, because that's the beauty of it.
Well,
and
the one thing a lot of early stage artists don't understand, especially if they're sketching or they're doing plein air, is it's okay to move things. You don't have, you want to make a good painting, you want a good composition. You don't have to do something that replicates it exactly, unless that's your purpose. I mean, if you're going in to document something and you need it documented exactly, and it doesn't matter if it's a good composition, go for it.
Exactly. I think the key thing to, because when I first started painting, I felt like the point of me painting outside was being truthful and honest to what I was painting. And that meant painting everything I saw, every telephone pole, every bush in its place, as exactly rendered as I could. You could, those things where you could put up the painting, you can't tell the painting from the background. And yes, you can do it, but you don't have to. I mean, something beautiful about plein air painting is that we can go beyond a photograph. We're not stuck by those boundaries. We can move things. It's okay to move things. You can make it better. And that's what's wonderful. So I'm kind of coming up with a little sketch, trying to keep in mind like things to be mindful of, like I don't want this to be even. Maybe I'll kill that out. So once you get kind of a sketch like this, the whole gridding concept is when you basically, let's say this is the size I go with. I can always cut it up, make it more narrow. I might have the box be a similar size to the canvas, and then I'm just going to kind of draw lines through it, which does stink if you get a beautiful sketch. That's the bad thing. But then once I get this going, I can then draw these lines on my canvas and then recreate them in that way. And that
Yeah,
would be
so
gridding.
yeah, you know exactly where to put the drawing.
Yes. It helps when it comes to drawing because it's a lot easier for us to draw something on a small scale than on a big scale.
Right.
So, and it helps, like I think when people just sometimes freehand and they're not as comfortable with it, you end up with things cut off in the wrong places where you didn't really want it, but then you spend so much time in the drawing, you just let it stay, which is not really what we want. So nowadays I'm doing things a little differently. I'm doing less gridding. I'll still sketch and plan out what I'm doing. And if I'm doing a large work, I'll still do a color study. But now I got my little, like, my fancy Raymar. These are kind of like little treasures. I spoiled myself by buying a couple of them for my last trip because we went to, the North Rim.
Hike 10 miles.
10 miles. I felt it after that. I felt it. And then the problem was that whole trip, we were very high fitness levels. So like the next day we went to Lake Powell and I was paddleboarding there and painting, which is why I couldn't do the video then because there's no reception on the lake in Antelope Canyon. But that was so fun. I have a new goal. So nowadays I like to start my sketches with this charcoal because it allows me to kind of erase and start over if I need to. I'm not as committed to my sketch, so if I don't like the placement, I can correct it, but it allows me to be a little more free and creative with where I place things. So I kind of go outside and I start this way now. These little, I got this ages ago, these little credit color sticks. And then you can just get like, have you used these before?
Yeah, they're great.
Love them.
So you're just sketching right onto the canvas.
I'm just sketching freehand.
On location, right?
Oh yeah, I'll just take this little charcoal, sketch it free, and then like, especially if I'm going to do an acrylic base, the charcoal will kind of wash off. So I might go over it again with a pencil if I really like the drawing and I want to keep it, because then I can paint acrylic over that, and I'll still lose a lot of the image, but it won't be quite as bad. But it's been interesting. The thing I liked about the acrylic start outside is I can get a more finished look faster because I'm not waiting for it to dry to go over it with layers. It's a little trippy because then you end up with a plein air painting that kind of looks more like a studio, which could be good or bad. But I like that I can get really strong lights and darks that way.
So when you're saying acrylic start, just for the people who might not know what that means, will you tell them?
Absolutely. So let me show you.
Please.
I have a bin. This is mine. I bought this guy.
Oh yeah, it's my favorite toy.
This is where I put my acrylics, and I kind of have my little plein air easel, and then I kind of made a little ledge on it so that it can sit on top of it when I'm not using it. So when I go outside, like this year at the Grand Canyon Celebration of Art, I have this guy.
Yeah. And
these actually, you'd be surprised if you get this sealed pan, they can last a really long time.
You know, I use that for my oils as well.
Yeah, that's great. And this is just like, these are just cheap acrylics. I think some of my favorite colors is like this one is really good with this purpley color. Like some good canyon colors. So I'll kind of
a little tip for you.
Yes.
Is I put a strip of Velcro on the back, the upper back of that, and then I put a strip of Velcro on my easel so it doesn't move around at all when I'm
I should do that. If you saw what I was using right now, you'd probably laugh. It looks so janky, jerry-rigged. I might go buy some Velcro because that's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, well, you might have to walk, maybe like 2 blocks to get some, right?
In Scottsdale?
Yeah.
Velcro?
Yeah.
No.
Hardware store?
I'm gonna have to go to the hardware. In Scottsdale, there's a hardware store down here. I'm gonna have to drive for it. But yeah, so I do that, and then I have my little water container, and I have a spray bottle, and I just kind of loosely go in with like a watercolor sketch. It'll be drippy and messy sometimes, and then I'll tighten it up as I go, but then I can do some glazing. And then when that's dry, I'm able to go in with oil paint and kind of do a top painting over. And that gives me these looks like, for example, this is the current studio piece I've painted on this spot a couple of times. This is Roosevelt Point. But you can see all these great atmospheric effects I'm able to do because it's kind of dry and I can go over it with an oil painting, which is really awesome. I never really gave you a tour of my studio. This is my filthy, can I get this right? This is my palette. It's kind of messy right now.
Well,
You can
that's what
see.
palettes are supposed to be.
I have my little treasures here too. All sorts of random, isn't that pretty?
Yeah, that's pretty.
Things I've collected over the years. Just kind of goes there. I'm probably going on a tangent right now. This is my gallery studio. It's kind of both. I guess it's like, who else did that? Guy with a ballet studio. Pinkham.
Turn it around again so we can see the front of your gallery because you went a little fast. So the gallery is on what street in Scottsdale?
It's Scottsdale in Old Town on Main Street.
Okay. So it is so you have your studio in there and you have people walking in all the time to look at your gallery.
You know, it's not as often as you think it is. And because it's a studio, I'm not afraid to like close it or not be here. I think that's fine. Down there, that's me kind of getting ready for shows. So I kind of pull everything out. This is another piece on the front wall.
That's
out of the way.
Big and beautiful.
But yeah, you can get some of those great glazing without waiting 2 weeks for your oil painting to dry. And I can do it outside, which is exciting. So it's not a huge studio. Oh, this is the one I'm working on now. I have a dream of getting the perfect painting to go into this frame. It's been a pickle. So I've been doing a lot of like the paddleboard painting. So I'm going out to the Salt River and they have wild horses out there. It's really cool.
I've been doing the same thing.
Yeah, you're in the lake.
I bought a bunch of frames from Masterworks that they had. They were custom frames, kind of like that other people had ordered and then not paid for, and they were unique sizes. And so I cut panels to fit them, and then I paint paintings to fit into the frame. So it's
that's what I'm doing a lot lately because I have all sorts of weird things. But you got a good deal if you got some discounted.
Well, they came to the plein air convention, and they didn't want to take them home, so it was a.
Oh, that is the best part of the convention night. I shouldn't say that, but yes, for me, it's the store.
Yeah,
it's the store. Cool. It's a terrible thing. I should be saying all the wonderful artists, but that's great too. But the store. It's like your favorite art store in one room.
Yeah, great way to drop a lot of money.
Oh yeah, yes. Lots of ridiculous brushes. I think I purchased it. I was like, why do I need a gold brush? Because it's cool, and it'll make me cool if I have something like that.
Absolutely.
That's what I think. If I have this cool art product, I will be a better artist because I have it.
Yeah, it's like golf clubs.
Like this will make me legit.
So what are you going to talk about now?
Well, if you like, I can continue on with this wonderful sketch.
Yeah, let's. Are you going to lay some acrylic down on that, or what are you going to do?
Good. Do you want to see what that looks like?
That'd be nice.
Would that scare you? I do have this on just in case, because I'm a pretty tidy painter. Like I don't really have a problem with wearing something nice when I'm painting, because I don't get that messy. But acrylic is a whole other beast. It's a mess. Now the thing with acrylic, you want to actually try to keep in mind that you need let me get this around here. You need there you go. But it doesn't really zoom in much, does it? I'm just rolling this stand around. You need to use acrylic primed canvas. Don't use oil. It's just going to be a slobbery, greasy mess.
Yeah, it won't really stick properly.
It will slide right off. Yes. So I kind of have a little bit of a view of my other image. This would work better if it was not upside down.
Who knew?
I've done that before when I go outside. I'm like, have I been wearing this inside out and backwards the whole day? And it's really a problem if you do that with your bottoms. I like to blame Art Brain on that because I'm like, it's not me. It's just because I'm an artist. That's why.
Art Brain.
Yeah, it's Art Brain. Normally, I'd be a terribly intelligent person and I would never mess up. But because, this back here is Angel's Gate, and it looks just like Isis, and it throws me off every time because for the longest time I would title my paintings Isis that I'd done for the North Rim because it looks like it from the north side. Okay, so being quick here, let me grab the key thing for acrylic this spray bottle. I had a beautiful spray bottle and I dropped it into the canyon by mistake. So I went and got an emergency hydrogen peroxide spray bottle at the canyon store. And so it is. I still use it. It's decent. Now I got my beautiful acrylic palette. That's how you say it to be fancy. You say acrylic. It makes it fancier. And I'm going to go get a water. Eric, have you ever used acrylics?
Yes, I use acrylics for underpainting a lot.
It's the secret. Well, it's not a secret anymore.
You know, what I like about it is that it dries and then I don't have to worry wet over wet.
Yes, whatever wet just gets muddy.
I tend to do that more in the studio than when I'm painting plein air, and I know it should be the opposite. It's just
there's some complications when you're doing it in plein air. Like the bad thing is it's another thing to haul out with you. You're now, you know, and then like this I have to carry like that because I don't really trust these paints to stay put in here. They're gonna be all over the place. And I definitely go through a lot more paper towels. So I mean, I wish I could fit everything into the screen. I don't know if I can and still have you see it, but I'll try and hold this up. So for this guy, I think I'm going to start with kind of like
why don't you prop your palette up where the other panel is, or prop it up where your water is, and then just lay it on there horizontally, kind of like David Cassan's palette.
I feel like acrylics will just slide right out.
Well, let's find out. It'll be entertaining. It'll be entertaining, yeah.
If you see, like, my poor carpet will be covered with acrylic. There we go. That's not too bad of a view. Okay, so this is kind of like this is like a really nice, like, gray blue color. I find that the hardest thing with acrylics is I don't really love their alizarians. They're very depressing. They don't have that same saturation. There's things I have found I can't have in acrylics that I have in oil painting. So I'm not terribly like, oh, I got to be perfect with this, because another beautiful thing about acrylic is, okay, yeah, it's kind of hard to lift paint off of it, but at the same time, I am able to paint over it very easily. So that's not too hard, was it?
It's probably harder to blend edges too, because it dries so quick.
It does. Like these are in here. I haven't replaced it lately, so they have dried out. So I will grab my acrylic holding box.
Oh, great.
I don't have that one in there. I've been trying to upgrade a little bit for the show. So I wish my Bob Ross tin held more acrylics. That would be great.
You need two of them.
I don't even know where a student brought me that one. Ron, my friend Ron, who has taken some classes from me.
There's this new thing called the internet.
Giant Bob Ross tin. That's what I need. Mega Bob. And
what kind of acrylics are you using?
This one is a golden one, just because I really like their phthalo blue light. Backwards, you got to flip it. There we go. I also have golden and master's touch. I think with the acrylic, I'm not thinking about, wow, what's the best one I can use. This is just for some sky here. A little bit of ultramarine blue. Wow, I am like all like David Cassan right now, aren't I?
Well, it works.
Start painting people.
I like to do this with my palettes.
My palette's too big. I don't think it'll go vertical.
No, it won't.
So this is kind of just a sky. And again, you can, I mean, it's still kind of wet. I can blend in. But yeah, if you're outside painting, this dries up like lickety split.
The second and now I can just down in Arizona.
Basically. That's why when it comes to my oils, a lot of the times I will include some oil blend of clove bud, safflower. Yeah, clove bud and safflower. And that just really kind of helps slow the drying time. So I'm not just spending all my money.
So there's a couple of questions for you. One of them is applying oil over acrylic, is it permanent archival to paint oil over acrylic?
Mm-hmm. It's fine. What you don't want to do is the reverse. Acrylic over oil is what's bad. Yeah. It's just because you basically have a gooey, like you don't want the last layer to be the dry layer and the underlayer to be the wet layer, because then you're getting this cracking. So I wonder how that would qualify if you had a very, very dry oil painting. That I don't know.
Somebody said, have you tried using casein for an underpainting in oil? Or use the casein for the base of doing glazes in oil?
Wait, casein?
Casein.
I don't. I'm afraid I'm not.
Casein is
not aware of it.
It's kind of like gouache, but it's made with, I think gouache is made with honey and milk. I'm not sure what gouache casein is made with, but it's pigment and it's not acrylic. You'll have to go to the art store and check it out and try it. See.
Buy a whole new stand.
Somebody told me Jack Richardson makes casein. It's hard to find.
Then that may not be the best thing for me if I'm not able to find it.
Yeah.
I already feel like it's hard to find most of the art supplies I want as it is.
So like your spray bottle is you're using it to clean your palette? Is that?
Yeah, I use it to clean this up to kind of keep these things from drying out. So like periodically, if I'm outside, I'll just spray it. And then, yeah, so I'm kind of getting like, this is a pretty quick start if you ask me. And now for the next one, I can just kind of go into it with a darker layer. So this is kind of like a iron oxide red type of a color here. And this is like just a violet gray. But these two together are kind of make a nice, oh, the other hard thing about acrylics that drives I don't like about them is that they will dry darker than you know. So they don't stay the same color. That when they're wet, they're always lighter, and then they dry a darker shade. So that's just such a joy.
Well, you just have to compensate for it. That's all.
Like if you're gonna make a large area, like I think the hardest part about that is trying to remix the same paint color. So if you don't mix enough paint and you want to make it the same color as it was the first time around, that's going to be a little challenging. I know it's exciting. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just going to point something out to everybody who's watching. We are all big fans of big shapes. And if you look at this painting, I mean, because of the variations in the brush strokes and the lighter and darker in the brush strokes, I mean, that already reads like a Grand Canyon painting, even though you haven't even put any detail in.
This is another thing to keep in mind when you're painting something like the canyon that's overwhelming is there are a lot of things happening inside here and in the back here. And I'm really choosing the simplest shapes and the most aesthetic ones. And then I'm tweaking them so that they're kind of not, I mean, it looks a little different from your sideways point of view, but I'm not trying to have this line up with this. So I kind of have the peak here and this crevice, and you know, it's simpler to manage fewer shapes and every single thing that's happening in there. But you know, I do think that takes practice and time, and I don't know if everyone wants to hear that when they go out painting, that you're gonna have to, there's no way to get out of painting all the time to get better. Like if you're gonna paint one day every 2 weeks for 20 years, you're not gonna see a lot of improvement. It really has to be a daily practice endeavor as much as you can. Well, I mean, it depends on the results you want, but if you want to get good fast, it's a lot of practice.
Yeah.
And you can go to all the workshops you want. If you're not applying what you've learned, it's not going to do you a lot of good. You're just going to forget it.
So we still have about 10 minutes. So you should be able to completely finish that painting with the oil and everything in 10 minutes, right?
Maybe not the oil, but I can do some more with the watercolor acrylic. I don't know. Maybe, Eric, maybe I'll have to do another video with you.
Absolutely.
How to do.
Just consider this a formal invitation.
It was fun going out there. I actually liked it. I feel like I could have had prettier images. So I'm going to try and do something that you can do with oil. Let me get this. I might go back to this.
We built a whole new sound stage that you did not get a chance to visit. So
what is it? I mean, it was beautiful. I was impressed by how, yeah, it's lovely. I've had other artists call me and ask about doing it, and I just say it's a wonderful thing to do. And it looks better than whatever it is I'm going to try and do on my own, which is nice because I don't want to. So this is another thing. Oh, well, that wasn't dry enough. That's what happens if it's not dry enough. But it still adds from atmosphere.
Yeah, yeah. There's a storm.
There's a storm. Yeah, don't freak out if you're painting something and that happens. It's who cares. So actually, this acrylic does not dry as fast as I want it to. I can add some bushes in here though. Let's put some of those happy trees in, huh?
Yeah, happy trees.
Oh, I'm gonna use my dark, this greeny color.
It says casein is a milk byproduct. It's a component of gouache paints. She uses it as an underpainting, but it must be dry first. And so I don't know. It's got proteins in it. Human or cow milk, sheep milk, buffalo milk.
What is that? What that weird named thing is?
You learn the casein. You learn the strangest things.
Yeah.
We have a very active audience, and they're very involved, and we love them because they always know the answers.
It makes me feel like I don't know enough. Like after painting this long, it's like I should know things like casein, and then you don't, and it's like, oh no, I got to get back out there.
Somebody said they want to see an all acrylic video. We're working on that, Dan. Thank you for asking.
I can't get as much in here as I'd like, but I want to try and get some highlights in here if I can. But the nice thing is, you know, with the acrylic, you can go in and add some pops of light. So this is going to be a little, come on, Eric, I need this to be like a 3-hour video.
Yeah, well,
I could get a lot more done.
Unfortunately, I have a job I have to go to today. I'm sure you do too.
Yeah, it's here, but I kind of get, oh, we get to go paddleboarding again tonight. So if anyone follows the Instagram page, you'll probably see me take pictures of the horses. We saw a raccoon and a turtle the other day.
Nice.
That was fun. This looks terrible.
Oh, well, but every painting can start out looking terrible.
I have this vision of it being done in like a short period of time. You didn't even know you were going to be doing this, so. You know, I will keep painting this, and I'll try and post pictures of it too, so people can watch it, because this will succeed. Maybe not in the time frame I think it should, but
it will come alive. You still have a few minutes.
I could use my blow dryer. That really helps, but I don't know if you will like that sound a whole lot.
Well, it depends on if it's going to be for 3 minutes. If it is, it probably wouldn't work. Could
very well be for 3 minutes as wet as this is.
Well, just talk towards the painting. We'll get all that hot air.
I do want to put a highlight in so bad. It's killing me.
Okay, well, get your blow dryer out real quick. Get your blow dryer out.
No, I can do it. I can do it. I'm going to get my little scribbly brush. I got a new one. Oh, these things are great for like highlighty things. It's a nice script liner brush.
All right.
It currently has oil paint on it, so maybe I won't use that. I was playing around with it
while they're wet.
No. I'll use this watercolor brush. So this is kind of a nice little, it's called Flesh, but it can do some fun little highlights here. Let's see how it works for me. But when it's dry, you can get like really amazing pops of light that you just can't do as easily with wet on wet.
Yeah.
And that's what I really have enjoyed about working this way. It's still wet. But this would just be my start, you know, then I go in later and you make it sing with the oil paints. So this is kind of like your sketch.
So you'll even put highlights in your underpainting.
Oh no, I'll put highlights in my underpainting. I'll try and get it to a point where I like the underpainting, and then I go in with the oil, and I'll kind of, you know, push it out, bring it back, push it out, bring it back with glazing and layers, and it just gives it a lot of depth. I think that way I can do a lot of stuff in a shorter period of time.
So this is a challenge for everybody watching. I think it'd be a great idea to if you haven't tried this, go out and buy some acrylics and try it. And
It's
and
scary and worth it.
and try it as an underpainting in your oils, especially summertime. It'll dry so fast.
So yeah, here's the plein air version of it. There's still some issues with the plein air version. I think in the studio I can kind of make better, which is great about being in the studio.
Yeah. And then you'll take that plein air version and make a larger version if it's something you want to make a big painting from.
Yep.
What's the largest? What's the largest that you will paint?
Outside?
No, well, that, but also inside.
I mean, the largest inside painting is the one that was in that wall up front, the Garden of Temples, or what size it is. It's a big boy. Plein air has probably been 18 by 24. This one is a 72 by 45. If you're
wow. Go further away so we can see, get the scope of the whole thing.
Let me do this.
Yay.
There's that. And
yeah.
I don't know if I really make it look bigger, but
yeah, you do. Yeah.
There. That one took a while. That was kind of before I was doing the acrylic starts, but the nice thing about having something in my gallery is I get to go back and kind of tweak it. Oh, there we go.
So Joe Wang said something the other day that was the opposite of what I would have expected. He said, small painting, big brush, big painting, small brush.
Yeah. I mean, I use a lot of little brushes, but I guess that works for me on the big ones because, you're not going to get those. I use little brushes a lot.
Yeah.
But I start with, my sketches are with a bigger brush.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see what he's saying. There's something cool. I think big paintings also look really good too if you submit them for shows because they get reduced down to a tiny image and they look very detailed.
Yeah. Somebody in the comments is saying that Golden makes these grays that are wonderful for underpainting to use in the mixes.
For golden acrylics or?
Yeah, golden acrylics.
Yeah, I have a lot of golden acrylics.
Yeah. They Golden also makes Williamsburg oils. And Williamsburg has a series of grays. I discovered this from, who was it? Somebody we did a video with. And I ended up adding it to my palette because they make these warm and cool grays that rather than trying to use complementary colors to gray everything down, you just grab a touch of that. If it's warm, you use the warm. And
it's a quick way.
Yeah, it makes things really easy.
I also like these guys, Gamblin. They make so many grays. It's crazy. Very handy.
Yeah. A lot of good paint out there.
It is hard. They're not always at the same art store you go to. So you end up having to get them online and, driving to multiple stores because they're not just consolidated. Yeah,
I get it. Well, Amery, this has been fabulous. I'll just tell everybody again. Well, first off, tell us what your website is.
It's www.amerybohling.com.
Okay. And so just take the spelling of her name, do a screenshot of that, and then check out her website. Also, if you're interested in her videos, go to lilyartvideo.com and just search her name, Amery. And the 2 videos that we've done will show up. The videos are how to paint the Grand Canyon, which even if you'll never paint the Grand Canyon, you're going to learn a lot from it. That's perfect. And then
there we go.
And then the other one is Seascape Painting Secrets, which is fabulous painting. Really, really beautiful. Well, Amery, thank you so much. And we really appreciate you coming in on such short notice today and doing this for us. It's been really fun. Maybe next time I'll get a better connection for doing it at the canyon. Oh, wouldn't that be almost fun? Had it. So close. Oh, you were trying to do a connection and do it at the canyon? At the North Rim, and there just was no internet. So. Well, what if you painted on the porch out by the hotel? Now the South Rim I can do. So if you want to do this again when I'm at the South Rim of the canyon, I can try and get the internet if I can. I might have to do it on my phone, but I have a setup, and then you can watch me paint live at the show. Oh, I think that's a great idea.
Ooh,
Ooh, okay. Just let us know and we'll do it.
you got it. I will. I'll be in touch.
All right, everybody, thumbs up and applause for Amery Bohling. We really appreciate you doing this. And everybody visit her website, amerybohling.com, and her videos at lilyartvideo.com. Thank you, Amery.
Thank you. Have a great day, guys.
All right. Well, this is always fun. You know, somebody mentioned in the comments, you know, that we're just having fun. And that's what this is all about. We're having fun. And that's why we're here, to keep our head in the game, keep ourselves from going nuts, getting worried. You know, you do something that you love. And I have heard from so many, I would say hundreds, maybe even thousands of people. I've heard from people who've said things like, you know, from this daily, I started painting. I never had painted before. One lady said that she had started watching the videos every day at 3 o'clock, and then she started painting, and she was amazed at how well she was doing right out of the box. And I think it's because usually when we start painting, you know, we're just trying to find our way. But when you watch things over and over again, they tend to sink in. And somebody else told me that they had been watching and painting along every day, and one of their friends commented how much better they had become. Well, it's because you're painting along every day and doing it. So hopefully this is good for you and you guys are getting positive value out of this. This is day number 156 in a row. I will keep doing this for who knows how long. We'll keep it going after coronavirus. We'll see. It just depends. You know, if the audiences go down and you guys don't show up, I'm not going to do it. But so far, some videos are getting as many as 5,000-6,000 views by the end of the day, by the time they're on all the different platforms, some of them not. But anyway, it's really terrific doing this for you. I want to remind you real quickly that August 30th, which is this Sunday, my birthday, I'm not telling you which one, but I will tell you that it's at least 40. All right. So this Sunday, the Realism Live deadline for the early bird price. And so you go to realismlive.com and check that out, realismlive.com, and get in there and save $100 before Sunday at midnight. Now, the next thing that expires on Monday is the Plein Air Salon Art Competition, $15,000 grand prize, and a $27,000 in total cash prizes, including cash prizes for each monthly competition and then for the annual competition. And last but not least, enter to win the painting at paintinggiveaway.com. This is from Carl Dempwolf. It's a $6,000 painting. That painting would sell for $6,000 in American Legacy Fine Art, his gallery in Pasadena. And so this is a great opportunity to own a beautiful painting, and he made the frame. So go to paintinggiveaway.com. Reminder to check out the Plein Air podcast, wherever podcasts can be found, and the Art Marketing Minute. Thank you again for honoring me with your time, and I really appreciate it. And I want you to keep your head in the game. Do something fun, do something upbeat. Yes, the world is changing. Yes, there's a lot going on. Yes, it's very confusing what's going on. But please know that if you keep your positive head keep your head positive, if you make sure that you are doing things that are fun and not spending all your time watching the news and doom scrolling and getting worked up, then you'll feel a lot better about yourself, and everybody will feel better about you. And there's a term, right, they use on the airlines, and that is put the oxygen mask on yourself before administering it to others, right? And that's really important. You know, we all work hard and we all are taking care of other people, and sometimes that's overwhelming. But if you don't do good things for yourself, you're not going to be able to take care of others. So keep your head in the game. Thank you for watching. I'm Eric Rhoads, publisher of Fine Art, Connoisseur, and Plein Air magazines. We'll see you tomorrow on day number, what is tomorrow? Tomorrow's day number 157. And I may come from New Hampshire. I'm not sure. I have been thinking about it. We'll see if I do that. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.